welcome back, everybody. So in this lesson, this episode, we're going to go cover um, the pre-start checklist, which is pretty short, and we'll go through the starting of the engine, and we'll talk about taxiing a little bit. That's the next step in what we're going to do here. Again, this is all based on remembering real life stuff as a pilot, trying to refresh myself. And thank you for following along. So let's do this. We see last episode we did our pre-flight, so we're still on that configuration where flaps are still down. We haven't done anything yet. So at this point, we've completed that. Let's hop into the airplane, and we'll switch the camera to the cockpit. And the checklist for before starting engine is pretty short. The first item is to make sure your pre-flight inspection is complete. We already did that. Next, we check our seats, seatbelts, our seats that are secure. Make sure our seatbelts are on, shoulder harness is on. They are actually two separate things in a 152 and often in a Cessna 172 as well. You have a lap belt that you put on first, and then there's a separate shoulder belt that comes down and it clips on to a knob on the lap belt. So it's not like a car where you just pull it over your shoulder and you have lap and shoulder. You have to do them individually in the airplane. So there's that. So, but you adjust them and you make sure it's locked on there on that shoulder harness. And then we're going to look down and make sure our fuel shutoff valve is on. I actually restarted because during pre-flight we had turned it on. So it should still be on, but I restarted the simulator, so it's defaulted to off again. So let's make sure that's on. And we're going to make sure our radios and electrical equipment is off. So we'll come over here, off. I click it and I move my mouse to the right, or rather to the left, sorry. That shuts that off. That's off. What else do we have? Any other electrical? Make sure that's off. We don't really use the ADF in any of what we're going to do anyway, so we can actually leave that off. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All our lights are off, right? Yep. Okay. So there's radios and electrical equipment is off. Brakes, test and set. I have my rudder pedals that have brakes, so I'm testing them. And the parking brake is right there. It's a pull on, so that's that's released. So we have no brake on right now, and that's now we can set them like that. I also have the Honeycomb Alpha and the Honeycomb Bravo controls, which I use a lot. I'll use the mouse in most of these videos to show you what I'm trying to click on. But whatever you're using, be a joystick, or if you have a Logitech yoke or Honeycomb yoke, or if you're on Xbox, just using a controller. I'm not going to go through a whole lot of setup stuff and settings on those. There's lots of great resources out there, and there's actually links in the description. One is to Huddison, great channel for settings and hardware, and lots of great information there. So I don't feel the need to duplicate that because I couldn't do any better. So he's got great stuff. So go check him out he's doing Xbox reviews and control settings and stuff now. But he's got great stuff for Logitech, yokes and joysticks and how to get them all set up. So check him out. Also, let's see. There is no also. So we tested our brakes and we set them. Let's come over here and make sure our circuit breakers are in. For the purpose of visibility, I would not normally do this in the airplane. I'm going to advance the throttle and the mixture because here are our circuit breakers down here. You just want to make sure they're all in. They're like button things, so they'd pop out if they were blown. So you make sure they're all in. You usually just run my finger across them. Make sure none of them are sticking out. And that's it. That's the before start checklist. So next is starting the engine. This is going to be for temperatures above freezing, which is 90% of the time what you'll have. So the first thing we want to do, let me put the controls, mixture, and throttle back to where they belonged. First item before starting, or to start rather, put your mixture to full rich, as long as you're below 3,000 feet. it do a little bit slightly different depending on 3,000 feet, but I haven't done that, so I'm not clear on exactly what it should be preset before starting. So full rich is always good, and then you can lean out as you feel need to once you're running. And then carburetor heat, cold, and the carburetor heat is right here. It's pull to on, so we don't want it pulled out. We want to make sure it's pushed all the way in. That's carb heat off. Next, we prime as required, up to 3 strokes, and no prime if the engine's already warm. Well, the engine is not warm. We have not flown today at all. I'm going to reset my view here and come back down. The primer is right here, and you can do up to 3 squirts, like I said. So let's do 1, 2, and 3. And then in the real thing, you actually twist it to lock it, so you can't pull it in and out. But I don't see that modeled here, so we won't worry about that in the sim. Throttle open about a 1/2 inch, and that's for a cold start. If it's a warm start, you can leave it fully out, but let's push it in just about a 1/2 inch. And also we'd normally have this window open right here, but it doesn't open in the stock 152 here in Microsoft Flight Simulator because we have to yell clear prop, and we'd do that by yelling out the window. So that is the step we're at now. Make sure the propeller area is clear. Pardon me, I can't talk today. So we'd basically look around, make sure that there's nobody walking around right in front, then we'd yell out the window, clear prop. So we go, clear prop. And that lets everybody know we're about to do something and have this prop spin. And so now we switch the master switch on. And then we put the ignition to start. Oh, because I have it mapped to I can't show it on screen. I have it mapped to my alpha, so it won't move unless I do it there. But here's your ignition switch. You have off, right, which is the right magneto, L for left magneto, both, and then start. So you have positions off, right, left, both, and start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions. And we'll take a look up as we do this to see the prop. Engine started, turn it to both. So you can see now we're on both. And we want to make sure that we adjust our throttle to 1000 RPM or less. RPM gauge is over here. And there's 2000, that's 1500. We're just over 1000, so let's bring the throttle down just a little bit. That's close enough. Now at this point, we want to check our oil pressure, which right here, oil pressure, it's just under the green. It's not too bad. I want it to really stay in green. I don't know if that's a sim thing or not. Actually, in a real plane, I'd be questioning this, to tell you the truth. But we'll let it warm up a little bit here and see if it moves up. Flashing beacon and nav lights on. Well, actually, I usually put the beacon on before I start the engine. That also is a signal that I'm about to do something and that the aircraft's live and there's a person in it. So the beacon I would have already had on. I was following a Cessna checklist. Go figure. So let's see. Flashing beacon and nav lights on. So beacon's on. Which, by the way, the switch for that was right here. This is your beacon. And the nav lights are right there. So I'll flip those on. Ta-da. So now the wingtip lights are on. There's a light at the back on top of the tail. That's the beacon. And that's on. And next we turn our radios on. So now we come back to radios. Turn them on, put some volume in them. Turn the COM 2 on. And we turn our transponder to standby. And we make sure that we have 1200, which is the squawk code, or the transponder code. They call it a squawk code. For VFR general aviation, you're not actually in contact with ATC at all, but it does transmit the signal of 1200, meaning your VFR, and people in ATC can see you. And if you're flying around and they have somebody they are monitoring and controlling that's anywhere near you, they can advise that aircraft that you're nearby. So it's a good thing to have. So we'll leave it on standby for the moment. And that is the starting engine checklist complete. So let's pop up here and we'll take a look around. I'm actually going to pull the flaps up at this point. All the way. There we go. I don't want to run over this guy, so I'm going to really ask for a pushback. And I'll do that. Let me pop outside for a second. And I believe it's Shift P. Yep. Shift P starts a pushback. We'll push ourselves back pretty much to the taxi line there. Probably help if I release my parking brake, huh? We'll go a lot faster. All right, Control P again, or Shift P again rather. Stop the pushback, apply my parking brake. See, I'm going to leave the mistakes and all in here. It's a whole refresh and learning again together. Hopefully it's helping you guys out, but it's really helping me out, refreshing my brain on this stuff. So, all right, let's hop back inside. Wait till he's clear. Oh, there's a plane over there. So let's go ahead and turn to the right then, I guess. Release my parking brake. Use your toe brakes on your rudders to turn. And you don't want to have too much throttle in. You want to be, when you taxi, you want to do it at a walking speed. So let's come over here for the moment and let this other guy pass on by if he wants to. See my traffic here. He's still sitting there. I want it to go that way, but that's all right. So anyway, with taxiing, you have your rudder pedals down the bottom here. Can't really see them too great. Let me take the parking brake off for a second. They're not real. Oh, there we go. I'll move back a little bit. You can see them. So there's the rudder pedals. If you want to turn the plane to the right, you push on the right pedal. That'll turn the nose wheel. If you want to turn the plane to the left, you push the left pedal. That turns the nose wheel to the left. It's kind of like steering a car, but instead of with a wheel, you're doing it with your feet. And the brakes are push on the toes, like that, but they're independent. So you can do just one side or the other. And that's pretty good. So it'll help you in a turn. So if you want to make a really tight turn to the right, you push the right pedal and then apply some right brake. So that's differential braking to help you make tighter turns. And of course, you press them both equally to stop in a straight line and slow down. Yeah, let's do a little bit of taxiing around real quick before we end this one. And we'll get back to, we'll do takeoffs and stuff in the next video. I don't see anybody coming. Yeah, he's still not coming. So I'll increase my throttle a little bit. We'll start rolling forward. And there we are. Nice brisk walking pace is really as fast as you want a taxi. And depending on where the wind is coming from, you actually want your control surfaces to be oriented properly for the wind. So if the wind's coming directly at us, we'll actually just pull back so our elevator's up. So you basically want to climb into your wind and dive away from it. So let's say the wind was coming from 45 or about 45 degrees off our nose to the left. Then we would actually turn the aileron to the left. And you can see that it's down on the right side. My thing's not working very well. Sorry about that. But anyway, we would turn the yoke. Oh, really? Why is there airplanes everywhere I'm trying to go? Let's get out of here. Go up over this way. Man, that's fun, isn't it? All right. So anyway, you climb into wherever the wind's coming from and you dive away from it. So again, coming from the left, you'd pull back and hold the yoke to the left. Let me turn my yoke on real quick. And I'll zoom out. So, I wasn't paying attention. This is bad. And of course, now if it was 45 to our left, we just turn a right turn. So now it's kind of 45 off of our tail. So we want to turn this way and push forward because the wind's behind us. And that helps keep the plane on the ground when you're taxiing. And just try to follow the yellow line here, which I did not do a great job of. But that's okay. It's a simulator after all, right? At least I know about it, and I know it shouldn't be done that way. And now here we're coming up to a hold short line. And just for taxi markings and let you know, when you come across this type of line, the dashed line says airplanes on that side coming this direction towards us are free to move past the line. It's like a dashed line on a highway. You can free to pass. This one's a solid double yellow, meaning we're not free to pass until we've checked traffic coming around, make sure the area is clear, and then we make a radio call like we're going to get out on the runway. So I'll leave it here for the moment. That should be pretty much long enough. I hope you found it useful, and actually comical, because there was some gaffes in this one, but that's okay. We'll take them, and we'll see you in the next one. I'll put a link to Huddison. It's down in the description, and do check him out for any of your hardware settings. Also, SimFanatic has some great hardware stuff too, but he does a whole lot more on add-ons and airplanes and stuff like that. So definitely check him out too, but I'll get more into what he does probably in the next one. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time.